Hi, it's Karen with Living Our Dream Homestead, where today we'll be making pumpkin fudge. Now, I don't know about you, in the month of October, we've got a lot of pumpkins, and we sure do this October. And I think about all the recipes that we could be making with pumpkin. And the pumpkin fudge just sounded good. It is a new recipe for me. I have never made it before. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing we need to do is we need to get an 8 by 8-inch square baking pan. We are going to be using parchment paper, and we are going to go ahead and put it in there and line our baking dish. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please click the button down below. If you've already subscribed, thank you very much. We are going to go ahead and be on the stovetop today. We need a medium saucepan. Let's go. Okay, I got my medium saucepan. We are going to go ahead and take 3 cups of white chocolate chips. I'm using, is that Ghirardelli? Probably not pronouncing it right, but we need 3 cups. You don't have to use this brand, but again, if you want to, you can, but you don't have to. So I'll go ahead and put in the white chocolate chips, and we will go ahead and have our heat on medium-low. Now that we have our chips in the saucepan, we need to go ahead and put in half a cup of sweetened condensed milk, which I have right here. Now, this is not evaporated milk. This is the sweetened condensed milk. You can see that right there. I'm using the Meyer brand. You don't have to use that brand, but we also need to go ahead and put in 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter, which I have right here. And we are going to go ahead and stir this over medium-low heat. We need to stir frequently until the chocolate and the butter is completely melted. Keep on stirring. As you can see, the butter is melting, and it will be difficult to stir. Now that it looks like most of the chips are melted, there's still a few, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and add in a 1/4 cup of pumpkin puree. Now, this is just what I had. This is fresh pumpkin. I had it frozen, so I thawed it out. And pumpkin puree doesn't have any spices added, so if you're going to be using the canned pumpkin again, make sure it's just straight pumpkin with nothing added. We're going to go ahead and mix this in to our white chocolate. Now that I've mixed the pumpkin puree into our melted white chocolate chips, we are going to be adding in 1.5 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice. Now, I have lowered the temperature to low heat. We're going to continue to completely melt the rest of the chips. Now that our pumpkin pie spice has been stirred in, again, we are trying to get all, that looks like some butter there. We want to get all that melted. There's a chunk there. So again, just stir frequently, and we have it over low heat. You can see a couple of the chunks there that I'm trying to get all melted up. Now that our ingredients look like they're completely melted, we need to go ahead and put in 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. Now we need to add in 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. I'm just using the Kroger brand, and we need to go ahead and sift it. So I'm sifting it through a sieve, and we're going to put it into our fudge. Now that the cornstarch is completely stirred in, we need to turn off the burner and remove the fudge from the heat. We are going to go ahead and pour it into our pan that is lined with parchment paper. Now that the fudge is in the pan, we need to go ahead and chill until firm. I'm going to go ahead and put mine in the freezer to freeze it until firm, but if you put it in the refrigerator, it probably would need to stay in there overnight until the next day to actually get firm. The fudge has been in the freezer for about an hour. It still looks like it needs some time. So I'm going to go ahead and put it back into the freezer. It's been over 2 hours, and the fudge honestly is not as firm as I think it should be. I've got a piece right here, and I'm actually going to go ahead and let my son try it being he loves pumpkin pie. I actually made it because I'm having family coming over, but I want to see how it tastes, you know, since it is a new recipe. I'm going to go ahead and put this actually back into the freezer until probably I go to bed, and then I'm going to store it in the refrigerator until tomorrow. The recipe actually called to chill it in the refrigerator until the next day. It definitely would need that because, as you can see, it is still quite, you know, sticky. I did decorate the top of the fudge with some more of the white chocolate. I melted it, and to get it more of a runnier consistency, I added a little bit of milk and then drizzled that over the top of the fudge. It smells excellent. It smells like pumpkin pie. So I'm going to go ahead and let my son try it, and I'll tell you how he likes it. All right, my son's going to go ahead and try this pumpkin fudge.
Pretty good.
Here's the pumpkin fudge up close. It looks delicious. Here's some of the pumpkin fudge. I was able to get some of it off of the parchment paper. The other is really still very hard and it's still sticky. This is about 4.5 hours in the freezer, so it still is not that set up. It's still a little sticky. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap the rest of this here and put it in the fridge and try in the morning to see if it comes off any better. It did say to put it in the refrigerator until the next day, but it actually said a total of 6 hours. I just thought that if I put it in the freezer, you know, it would be able to firm up faster, which it usually does when I make my other fudge. But this recipe, it did not. So we're going to go ahead and see what happens next day if I'm able to get the fudge off a little bit better without it being so sticky. It does taste good. My son really liked it. Well, it's the next day, and I got the pumpkin fudge right here. And I don't know about you, it still had trouble getting more firm. It's still quite sticky to get it off the parchment paper. It does taste good. My son loved it. He said it tasted like pumpkin pie, and it had a little of a caramel taste. But if you want to go ahead and try it to see if you can get it to firm up better, again, it stayed in my refrigerator overnight, and it still wasn't as hard looking as how it looked online. I will put a link down in the description to where I found the recipe. Well, thank you for watching. This was Karen with Living Our Dream Homestead. I hope you have a good day.